Welcome everyone to another RGL cast. My name is Jared. I'm here with Space Ghost to bring you guys like a G6 versus Froyotech. This is RGL Invite 6's Season 10, Week 7A, and we got quite the rematch ahead of us, which I think a lot of people have been ready and waiting for. G6 have taken the number one seed, and it's pretty much locked in. There's no way that could change in any capacity. But Froyotech, there's still some damage to do. They can maybe find a way to sneak their way into second seed or at least solidify their third seed. But even more, besides the placement, this is going to be quite the bit of a grudge match, I would think, as a G6. I mean, they're doing pretty good the last match and then kind of fell asleep at the wheel, and Froyotech used mid-fight victories and perseverance to do a reverse sweep on Metalworks, which seems to be G6's kryptonite. But tonight on Sunshine, as a different day, it might be a different tale of Space, as I think everyone's really excited to see what tonight's results will bring.
Definitely. G6 looking to avenge that loss and a couple other recent land losses to Froyo. So I'd say there's a pretty healthy rivalry between the two. G6 able to contest Froyo a lot, but Froyo seems to get the last laugh more often than not. Definitely rough for G6. They've had a couple losses that they were just so close to getting the dub, but new map, new them, new teams, etc. And I'm pretty excited to see how G6 comes out on this map because I'm not sure if this is their map pick, but definitely yeah, I'm just looking forward to see like the kind of, I wouldn't call it bad blood, but I think grudge match is a good word. G6 want to go into this, they want to establish their dominance.
Yeah, and before we get too deep into talking about the maps, it's probably important for everyone to, resituate themselves with what the rosters are, so you can know what the deal is. I don't think there's no serious changes, but it's a good refresher, and maybe as people are coming into the season in the middle of things and not really sure what was up, I'll go ahead and go over the Froyotech roster. It is Yum Yum and Banny on Scout, Donovan and Sin on Soldier, Ether on Demo, and Hubada on Medic.
And for like a G6, we have Bot Mode, aka Bomo, on Scout, Caps on Scout, Soapy Meister and Kobe 1920 on Soldier, Logan on Demo, and Whole Guy on Medic.
Yeah, plenty of names that by now, watching the season, you've been pretty familiar with. Definitely more so with the side of G6 if you're referencing seasons past. But I think both these teams have definitely shown in a variety of matches what they're capable of, what their peak is, and why they should be feared to a certain degree. And regardless of how the last match went between them, I think the strengths and weaknesses between the two teams, they were highlighted in multiple aspects. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see a rematch of not only one, you kind of really have a full, long set of multiple weeks to reset, talk about how you're going to beat this team in particular, maybe why things were different than how the scrims went, and kind of enact those plan Bs to make sure that you have a dominant victory this time around, as well as the very drastic map difference. We'll probably go into that a bit. Actually, I couldn't even research beforehand because I'm pretty sure the maps were only finalized literally today. But it's safe to say that Sunshine is definitely not anywhere near how Metalworks is played.
I would agree with that statement, and I would say so far in the matches this season, G6 has not played Sunshine. I mean, I'm sure they scrimmed it a lot. I'm sure they're somewhat comfortable on it, but have not played it in a match yet. Not at least in a high pressure situation. Of course, I think they've played it at LAN. They've played it plenty of times before, but this is the Froyotech map pick, so Fryo definitely coming out on Sunshine. Now, I do recall some Froyotech Sunshine matches earlier in this season, and I think they looked pretty good on this map. They felt pretty comfortable on Sunshine overall. You can kind of see everything in front of you in this map, and maybe that helps Baney call. Who knows?
Yeah, you can go ahead and see the picks and bans here. I think from the side of Froyotech, it definitely makes sense getting rid of a lot of the CODs and getting rid of some of probably the newest map in the rotation, because it definitely shows that their strength is not just going to be through raw DMing things, but definitely from Banny giving a little bit of guidance to some of the newer players to the playoff or even invite scene. And, Koth is not really going to be too strong in that regard, and especially with the new map. I mean, there's not really going to be tons of really old guard strategies to teach new blood, so those out of the way definitely makes sense. And for the side of G6, it definitely makes sense to get rid of some of these chokier and slower maps. Metalworks, Soapy talked about how it was definitely a cold place in his mind, that it kind of slows down their team. And Gully Wash, and maybe to some extent, Villa can kind of exist in the same way, where you can kind of purposely slow things down. Definitely more so Gully Wash from the structure of the map. Villa maybe just because it's technically newer. It's not new, but it's definitely, it's hard to play confident if you don't have like really good plan A and B to go off of. Definitely considered an upset map, and considered, I mean, they were considered the favorites and still lost, so probably don't want to repeat old stories of another upset loss and have Froyotech beat them for a second time. So I think it was just staples in the pool process, Sunshine and Snake, and Sunshine is going to be Froyotech's pick as the match that we're going to be playing on tonight.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how. I think even though this match, all four teams are locked into playoffs, so the teams that are going into playoffs, those are staying the same. But the seeding and who plays who in what order is not locked in yet. So if Froyotech wins this match, they do have a good chance to go up in the seedings, and as well, even if it doesn't necessarily show up on the scoreboard, these late season maps can come into play when it comes into pick bans for playoffs. I think it's important to note that, especially since G6 haven't played a Sunshine match this season, if they come out really well out of the gate on Froyotech's map pick, if Froyotech and G6 run into each other in playoffs again, Freya might be a little worried about picking Sunshine, or at least they know they're going to have to go over it again.
Yep,
So it's definitely
another important map.
the word I would
the
use is
pool.
scouting. You can kind of scout out the other team in the map, and if you look good on a map, that's usually a pretty good sign.
Yep. Froyotech wins this. They're likely going to be able to take the second seed from 20cc because of some of the penalties they got earlier. If they lose this, they're looking like they can probably get third, but technically can get fourth if Malp has a really good performance and gets an upset win of for themselves comparative to Froyotech's earlier upset win versus G6. It would kind of tie things up in the rounds, and maybe Mal could pass them and knock them down to fourth just via rounds one if that were the case. So there's definitely a lot of, like you said, important for seeding. Obviously, it changes the team you play entirely if you go from like second or third seed down to fourth. But even then, it's much nicer with going through the entirety of the pool, where your entire map pool is tested, to have a very large say on what the tiebreaker map could potentially be. Because if you're not that confident about your map pool, especially for Froyotech, who might, who knows how
They've
confident
been
they are.
double cough every time.
It's a new roster. They've banned double Koth every time. I don't know how they are feeling about the newer maps in the rotation, whether it's Sultry or Villa or whatever, but you want to have a really good pool, and it's going to really suck if you don't have control over the final pick. It might just be, damned if you do, damned if you don't really like either option. So keeps you out of that danger scenario. It's very important for teams kind of on the edge. And Froyotech could be in that spot, and this could be huge for them and could save them from immediately going to a lower bracket, depending on how that pool eventually goes to. But yeah, like you said, it's pretty much locked. I don't think there's really any way for like Dynasty or Insect Gang to kind of work their way through. As I think all the 5 and 6 teams of like 7 teams have kind of traded with each other enough to where they can't win out and pass Mal or Froyotech in any capacity. So just looking at a little peek into playoffs potentially if these teams ever show up. You never know how things are going to shake out at the end of the day when that weekend goes down. But more focus on tonight on Sunshine. We've had the Preds running for a bit. It seems like despite Froyotech's victory earlier on, people are still kind of in the G6 boat. They think, and maybe it was just a Metalworks thing. Froyotech had the mids kind of down, but hey, new map, new you. Still kind of leading like a 4 to 2.5 in favor of the scores. But what are you thinking for the Preds space? Think it's going to go to 5? Think it's going to stalemate out? What are you thinking?
Yeah. So I actually I was going to segue into the same thing. I think it's interesting that G6, even though it's Freya's map, G6 are still favored, at least according to the community consensus. And I definitely think I think Froyotech is a little. I wouldn't say 2.69 to 3.96. I'd give Froyo a little more credit than that. But I do think G6 is a very scary team to play against. I mean, last time we saw G6, Logan was out there making miracles. There's a lot of things going on that definitely if you think back, you can think of a lot of big plays that G6 have made recently that I wouldn't want to play against them. So Froyotech's got a tall order ahead of them. I think them leading towards a narrow Froyo victory, but I wouldn't be surprised. I put it like a 50-50 at best, honestly. I think this is a toss-up.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely see some merit in that. I think the biggest thing is Froyotech have definitely showed in the G6 match earlier in the season. They have good resolve that no matter, if it looks bleak, they'll still keep trying. And, because every round might count depending on how things go at the end of the day. And I think they still have some ability for, even if things kind of go wrong at the start of the Sunshine match, that they should probably have a plan B that'll work itself out. I think the biggest thing that allowed them to come back as hard as they did, though, is they won out of, what was it? There was 9 mids. They won like most of them, every one except one of them. 8 mids, something like that. It was extremely dominant. And whatever back and forth you could see between the teams, you tug and pull. And between mid and second and all that. It's if you start on your own half of the map like G6 does, that's going to lead to more round conversion potential. So I think that might have had a contributing factor in making things as even as it was. And Sunshine, I feel like with it being a less of a like a compact and maybe difficult mid, especially for Logan, who's probably a pretty much a staple in a lot of G6's success. I feel like it should be easier for them to start on a good foot. And even if Froyotech, oh, they did a really good play, they found a lot of success here. It doesn't instantly mean that, oh, okay, they're pushing last, they're going to get around off of it. I think it might give G6 more breathing room, and it's going to be harder for Froyotech to close. It kind of makes me lean towards like a, I'll say like 4-1 in favor of G6. I think they can go back and
4-1. Ooh.
yeah, I think you can go back and forth enough to where it wouldn't necessarily go to 5 rounds. But
You
I
think it's
think
going to be one of those closer than the score indicates, but that's what you think the score is going to be kind of game? Or
yeah,
do you think it's actually going to be like a slow 4-1 where it's just kind of the slow push? Or
I
back and
think
forth but slow?
I think there should probably be plenty of back and forth, but it'll be slow. But I don't think there will be necessarily as much Froyotech mid-fight dominance that'll allow them to collect as many rounds as they did. Uh, it'll give G6 more room to kind of close things out. But I mean, who knows? Whatever mid-fight you decide to show up at the very beginning could be disastrous enough where it takes a couple tries for you to get things down. And Froyotech, if they come out strong, they could put themselves on the board really early. So that's why I said I think there's definitely merit in saying this is a bit of a coin toss in that aspect. Because, some teams, the ring around the rosy could lead to death if things go wrong, so we'll have to see what kind of strategy they implement. But it doesn't have to be too much longer until we see for ourselves, because we are going live between these two teams, Froyotech versus like G6.
Speaking of the mids, we're going to be heading into a mid here, and as a brief aside while teams are rolling out, this is definitely one of those mids where the mid can kind of end before it starts. You can just kind of roll out and die, so I'm going to be excited to see if Sophie or if G6 or anyone from Froyo really want to get some early pressure. But it looks like both teams are actually going pretty slowly, but we do have Donovan kind of waddling in his own cafe, just waiting for something to happen. Sophie going behind on their side of that, but he's being pretty bit of a cast. He actually manages to rocket Logan just kind of sitting and waiting on his own side of the map. G6 are down 2, Froyo down 2 as well, but Froyo with no heals. They are backing up, but on the wrong side of the map.
Yeah, G6, and not really the best spot here if Froyotech managed to play this a bit slow. G6, they're not really that healthy, so it makes sense they're kind of playing it, they don't want to just W right off the bat, but immediately Sophie bombing it, finding the moment, not right off the bat, but just enough time to kind of lure Froyotech in a really weird spot, and Helveta does indeed fall. The rest of Froyotech 3 are still kind of separated. Expect besides the IT people, as Yum off and alone, we'll try to at least buy some time, but actually, the Froyotech reinforcements are coming in, and overall it'll be a trade on either side of the map, so G6, they did lose some people there, but the late Helveta kill is going to be really great for them, as the shoe's on the other foot now. You have to worry about Donovan, who's in IT, going for a flank if things go too long. He's going for a flank on the wall guy, one rocket.
No idea.
Coming in, or from Sin coming in, and yeah, no idea from the little guy. He's still in here, will eventually die, and these medics are just taking turns dying, as now Helveta has the heal advantage for their team, and the cap is still not gone from either of these teams, as G6 are stagnant, but it's total deja vu, except they're on the right side of the map. Now Batma going for a flank himself potentially, as they're still in the choke.
Helveta's no idea.
Kill into Helveta, turn around, try to get the meat shot. Low HP, 11 HP, and will eventually get that frag. Logan getting a kill on the Banny as well. Bot mode still drawing eyes, will eventually get fragged by Yum, but we're just seeing the same play from both these teams back and forth, as the mid has still not been captured. Field advantage now going in favor of G6.
Don't let the other team flank your med challenge. Not going well for either G6 or Froyotech, as a huge plays from Donovan and bot mode, killing both medics. And we managed to trade medics. We haven't traded any points, but Molokai going to end up with a very slight ad-over after all these shenanigans, tomfoolery, chaos, what have you. As Froyotech going to settle into this kind of, second hold, one of the classic mid to second holds in Tier 2, and Froyotech's actually playing this a bit passive. They, even though they're only, 20% disad, they definitely respect the Logan bomb. They've possibly been watching some of the recent RGL matches.
Oh, and immediately. Was that the same trap location or two different trap locations?
I don't
Either
know.
way, Yum flank able to kill Wall Guy. No one was spotting Valley. They were so focused on making sure that everyone get through choke that they just left that door open and they lose their medic. Soapy might get flanked as well. Yum on the chase. Soapy trying to work his way behind him will be okay, so they do have that to kind of work for in a pinch later on, and I don't think this back capture will to go through. I don't think they can block. They're barely getting their spawns though. There's no way they can get there in time. And
they could.
Yeah.
I don't think it would have worked well, but they could have.
Yeah,
Soapy's actually
he's gonna get killed.
But he actually traded for Sin. I think you take those as Soapy.
Yeah, That's the best you could really get in that situation, realistically. You're going to get chased down, and you took down someone with you, but this ad from Froyotech is still in play. They're trying to poke around through choke and see if they can get through without using, don't want to pop through when they know that Sophie is not going to be there to really punish them kind of going through slow. Some room made by Donovan. Some spam gets him a bit low after the fact, but is going to live to fight another day as they're able to take 2 pretty much free, and they want to keep the ball rolling. 30% ad dwindling a bit, and might be lower is the play. No, they're just thinking it's better safe than sorry. They probably thought that by the time they pushed that Logai was going to get, and that's actually true, as Logai, 90%, would have definitely gotten there, so good play from the side of Froyotech, cutting the losses and being smart with their Uber usage, and back to another stalemate, but with G6 on their last.
Yeah, Froyotech definitely, they want to settle into, actually, they look like, okay, they're going to send 2 in. Logai hiding in spawn. They're actually kicking up really aggressively, but Sophie's on the flank, and they're all so hurt. That's an easy force. They do manage to trade out Logan and Sophie, but that force, they were in the doorway, but they looks like, oh, maybe they're going to peek. Okay, no, Logai is just spamming arrows at the doorway, because that, I actually kind of like that. That's smart.
Oh, Yum. He's trying to work his way over towards Kobe, but will lose the fight. And they just want to use the fact that Logan was dead to maybe see if they can find an extra kill or maybe get the force, but no. Especially with a Yum death, that's going to be too much for them to
Donovan
work with there.
Oh, they found him.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be another death there.
He got the force early. That's huge.
Oh,
they got spotted him,
huge.
but you know, they were just so surprised by the fact that he was hiding there in the first place. The Donovan, like, hiding in corners plays or just standing in odd parts of the map has been
and Kobe.
Wildly
he almost dies there.
Yeah. Sin and Kobe, Sora's really trying to get in. Sophie actually gonna get Sin, so that's a huge play there. Getting Sin means that both soldiers down. This mid push should be a lot easier, and they might be able to get in before Freya gets this Uber. There's 10% left, and they're actually, okay, it looks like they are gonna get through. Froyotech hiding back in choke, but they do have 50% ad to work with.
Yeah, Yum getting a bit weak, might die before the Uber goes off. They're running forward. They are able to full cap, which is something for them. Gonna lose Yum eventually, though. This Uber has still not come out, but so many weak players from the side of G6. They had to back up all the way to make sure they get everyone that was on them off of them. And Logai's still pretty weak. The Uber has not been used. Oh, a lot of damage on the hub, but a good pipes from the side of Logan. Has to back and wait for the pack to, I think, respawn.
They're just pushing into the demo. This is tough.
Yeah, they're just trying. Gotta be aware of the roller. She takes another roller. He's 40 HP, and G6, they know the beam's not there. They want to continue to stay in fight, but bot mode will be left out to dry. Seems like the timing wasn't quite there, and they are unable to punish the passive medic play from Hubba, playing a bit safe there, but G6 unable to capitalize as once again, I mean, Froyotech, they took the second pretty much for free, but the Uber has dwindled. But this time, they do technically have a scout kill that maybe they can utilize.
Yeah, Froyotech should know by this point they don't have ad anymore, so they're kind of back to the same situation they were before. I wonder if they're going to try a different door, do something different. Because last time it didn't work out for all of them. Yeah, they got forced, they lost a bunch of players.
Donovan Spy.
Yeah, they do manage to get back the gun, but Donovan Spy is going to be a pretty... Okay, he at least he can spot everything, and he can spot what doors are actively being held. Like, Donovan can probably actually...
he's going
to
sap
the
gun.
With
the sack. Yeah, sacking the gun. Soldier can go in. Logan a bit weak. No kills for the side of Froyotech just yet. Now, they mean they get Sophie, but they lose 3. That is huge for the side of G6 to try to push off of, and yeah, they're getting off the
pushing out on Pyro. I love to see it.
He is pushing out on Pyro.
Look at his damage. The damage he's doing is insane, actually. And so Kobe's going in. He's doing good. He's doing good damage too. And Froyotech, they might feel like they're obligated to pressure here. G6 gonna try to get up these toughs. Yeah, there is a lot of damage out onto Logan. Both teams trying to posture out here, but in the end, it's actually gonna end up into another 6v6 situation. So G6, they had some good pressure there, but Froyotech just backed up, and I think G6 can rest easy knowing that it probably wasn't a great idea to actually reblast with the fire.
Yeah, I mean, Heather did a lot of damage, but I think that's also partly because they were a bit disjointed trying to push out. Kobe went out really early, and he didn't really have a whole lot of help until way later. There was at least 3 different players from the side of G6 that were just weak from all the spam that came through. Maybe they came through the shutters and all the doors a bit too nonchalant or timing or what have you, but Froyotech don't really have to deal with too much there, holding the opposing 2 and are back to trying to poke into last in an even scenario. Got the Pyro, not necessarily near the gun, but I mean, I guess kind of around it more near the little guy protecting him as seems like there's a lot of defense over on this left-hand side where Logan is sitting, where, I mean, Froyotech, they're trying to kind of poke about. They're trying to get an angle on the gun, which has eventually been moved over to the point, so over to the right side they go from the defending perspective, which is, a bit normal when you see a Demo Man and a Pyro and a Sentry all on one half of the map. You immediately go to the other. Get
Spencer down.
But yeah, but it's not the one you're looking for. I think they're just trying to figure out how to work with the defense
here comes
that's been given to them.
Okay, so Vanny rushes in, almost dies to the Sentry and backs up, and Logan and the Sentry actually doing a really good job. I actually really like this whole. They're basically having Logan and a Sentry solo watch the left side, and they kind of leave everyone kind of leading towards the other 2 doors. And So
Oh, and
far,
Caps moved
Froyotech,
the sentry,
yeah,
too.
he did move the sentry. Actually, now they're kind of doing the opposite. So as I compliment the hold, they immediately switch it, but no. They're the invite team, not me, so
I mean,
we'll
it's
have to
the
see.
mind game. They think the
Yeah.
sentry's gonna be not on this opposing side that Froyotech's about to go to. Oh, we'll just avoid the sentry and do other things. And no,
And
there
they're
it is.
Yeah,
Great
okay.
plays from Caps, just total mind games there, and I wonder if he's going to move it again, or do they expect, like, all right, he's going to move it again. This time we go for the same door. Oh, they got both scouts, that's huge. No scout speed, and Sin really weak as well, but Soapy will give us life for it, but getting a trade for Sin is, it's back to the drawing board for the side of Froyotech. They've done it before, but with no scouts, it might be pretty...
Pyro.
Yeah, it might be pretty difficult. Once again, Pyro coming out of last, I mean... This is
he's
scrappy.
He's on Lolgai. Lolgai gonna surf it. Donovan gonna fall. So still 2 down for Froyotech. There are 2 players rolling out, but there's not that many players actually in second right now. But Kobe gonna fall. Caps might be caught out, and they still have a... okay, I think G6 actually might want to push out a last with Pyro, which I really respect that as a stupid Highlander player myself.
Yeah, but they're not really... like, they're doing a 5v3, and still somehow there's enough chaos created by Froyotech to give them a hard time having it be free. Sin goes in for a second, it's not really fine too much. The Pyro's able to technically get the securing kills as the chase.
The scorch shot got other killed. He got knocked up by the scorch shot and he couldn't walk out because of it. That's a huge play.
And Hubbard as well, he can't really pocket Bandy, so it's going to be their soldier tries to bomb in and bail him out, and will succeed, but Donovan giving up his life for that, so they will have the scout speed to make sure Hubbard is able to escape, but finally G6 on their 3rd attempt will be able to push out of last. Even Uber scenario, Yum spawning on Sniper for mid, staying in the... no, actually leaving the shutter and going out to maybe get a different angle, but he is immediately spotted as, oh, the bombs come in, Caps has to be careful, but even Uber's, you have to kind of pick your battles here, as, you know, only have 1 player out and it's already left, as Logan put up a really sneaky trap over here by the health pack in Valley that if they do Valley plays, someone could end up going for that pack and dying, so we'll see what kind of play that Froyotech wants to go for to work this Sniper.
Yeah, Yum gonna peek Valley, and even though the angles are long, Sunshine can be kind of deceptively hard to snipe into. The mid to second thing, because the thing is, unless you're sniping from Cafe, which is very hard, they can pretty much see you. They know where you're coming from. It's really hard to get a blind shot other than through Cafe. And it looks like that's actually what they want to do. Kobe is going to peek the sniper, and it is spotted. Yum actually going to be kind of aggressive here, and he gets the shot. Huge shot from Yum there, getting Kobe. I did say that Cafe is the only sneaky spot to get it, but Donovan gonna go, and he gets a really close rocket off on Lolgai, but just able to dodge enough as there's more Froyotech players in. Sin gonna fall as well, but Bandy's in, and they get Logan. Logan sniped bot mode dead. Sophie's gonna be caught out too, and it just Caps and Lolgai is escaping the last.
Yeah, they're able to clean them up real hard. I think they were all bundled up by the point, and Caps is surely gonna get cleaned up here. Actually, he's getting some damage, but not quite enough. And yeah, they were just all on each other's models. I think the fact that Lolgai he fell off the platform as he was surfing the first bomb, so all the people that were really trying to like hold their ground on the point and stuff just got stuck pretty much and unable to get healed up and saved, so kind of makes sense that the cookie kind of crumbled. And G6 overall, I mean, they're still poking about. All the respawn is here from the side of Froyotech, so I don't really think they're going to find too much except maybe some damage out of them. Misopi takes a whole lot and has to back up, and once again Banny, no, gonna be
he just went for a solo sack. I thought he was going to off class, but he just kind of all right, I guess he just kind of was like, it's a free death and took it. So
this is an opportunity.
Yeah. Bandy's not a stats player, you know. He's a team player.
Slow pace continues though. He's you know, still stalemated up. Froyotech are holding their ground, but no one's really able to break too far out of G6 getting all the way to mid and Froyotech doing a round conversion.
Yeah, I'm curious how Froyotech's gonna try to break this, because now the gun's on the other side. First they have to figure out what side the gun's on. Like, there's not that many people on the left side. It's just Logan versus the universe if they really don't flood it. And look at what Ether's doing. Ether's just laying down a carpet, like a huge carpet of stickies on the floor to make it tough for Logan to actually hold this door, but Logan doesn't have the angle. And speaking of which, they're actually going to sack directly onto the gun. Donovan going to get knocked up in the air, but he's getting huge plays that actually get the force. It's a 2-4 force, and I think Froyotech, they finally figured out a way to get into last.
Yeah, had one person pretty much take all of the gun damage, and a scout was able to go through and meat shot Lolgai. I don't think he was able to use a dispenser as a blocker in time, so overall the force does come through with the 2-man, and that's a pretty good way to make sure that, I mean, it's honestly pretty standard if you don't want to spam down a gun. 2-man, one person takes all of the gun, the other person is able to find the free way onto the medic, and with Logan kind of pushed out of the way, it made sure that no one was able to die to a trap on entry, so full ad for the side of Froyotech, the first and last push attempt of the match, and we'll see if they're able to convert around with this as the setup begins. And the Uber is actually going to kick off, not on the side of the gun, but able to lock out Logan and bang into the spawn as bombs are coming through, trying to put some damage on a Vanny, and he will eventually die, unable to hit the reflash, but the cap time, Sin getting a lot more as the rest of G6 is trying to hold their ground. Everyone is scattering like bugs as they're just getting their way into lobby. The chase is on from Kobe, able to kill Yum Yum, and
Donovan's
might be
hurt.
able to get the bomb on the Hubada. The chase is on. There's a lot of weak players that need arrows, and oh, he's cutting them off.
They have
He's
to
in their
chase him.
pack, and Logan able to kill Ether. He's still trying to go from wrong doorway, but dropped to 4 HP. Will not get
he's
the
so
final
hurt.
lock.
They get him.
Logan is in the choke, able to get
Logan,
the frag,
oh my
and
God.
on Vanny as well, getting out Donovan, unable to make sure the frag is returned, and this soldier will not be too happy to find 3 or 4 players inside Valley. As G6, the ball is rolling. The only thing they really have to be worried about is Donovan has snuck all the way behind through IT, and I don't I think
look at
actually
Sophie knows.
Yeah, they know.
Sophie smells something. He knows. Oh, I don't know if he's actually get the kill though. Donovan kind of wait. Oh, almost hit the shot. But wait, Baba. Okay, Baba did like a weird 360 there, but finally got him in the end. As yeah, G6 gonna have very large overhead pushing into second here. Even though it's a 5v5, both teams down a soldier. It's
And
gonna be a little tougher.
Vanny's gone too.
Oh,
He
Vanny's
built a
gone
gun,
too.
But they still Uber despite that. They notice Hubada in a weird spot. They try to get some Logan damage into the shutter, and he's weak at half HP, but will eventually get out. They're going to Ether instead, down water, and now they found another soldier collecting Sin. So overall 2 kills for an Uber, not. And, oh, they lose Logan though. I was gonna say that's not what you expect, but it's definitely what you'll take. But not when you lose your demo. They're still in lobby, trying to poke and pressure as Kobe has taken the clock. And
they're just
able
in.
to take down Logan
They're just
and
winning the
Vanny.
DM
The
fight.
ball is rolling, and Hubada behind the point. Jared desperately trying to get to the spawn, but will not be so lucky. Yum, the last one left surviving as the first round capture will go in favor of G6.
Yeah, they just took basically a series of like 2v1s and 2v1s with heals, and eventually they just were managed to just get enough Froyo players hurt and caught out of position that they just kind of steamrolled it into last. That was I guess you don't have to push last if you just do it that way.
But new mid, new you is. I'm kind of curious to see if we're gonna see as that was probably the most extravagant mid fight that we've seen back and forth, deja vu, like 2 or 3 times over that we've seen in a long time. And I'm curious to see if, off the bat, if anyone's going to make any drastic changes. Seems like G6 still wants to play this side, but Froyotech are desperately increasing their pace. The Market Garden tries to come out from the side of Donovan, who will not find too much success. Hubada popping into the air, will surf safely up to the high ground. Scout unable to reach it, so bot mode will just end up dying as he's just chilling up there. It will finally drop down as, G6 are working their way back to their own side of the map. But Kobe's still hiding in the corner.
Hey, I can't believe
is
that.
he about to,
There's
is he
no
about to kill
way.
Hubada? No way. No way. 1 missed rock, 2 missed rock, and
Wait,
no, just
no.
kill him. No,
No!
That's gonna hurt in the morning.
No!
The flashbacks, laying down at night, being like, dude,
Oh no!
dude, it was right there.
That was.
But
I
everyone
never
gets
even
one.
I never even considered the possibility that he would miss all those rockets. Like, it didn't even occur to me that that was possible. Sophie also gonna fall too. G6 a little bit of a crumble here. Freya in last, and yeah, there's Heather.
99%! I was about to say, cut you off. It's like, yeah, but they'll get the Uber to cut them off. But Lol guy, he had to get out there to heal his teammates that were going to try to block the point, so they get the Uber in time, but I think they just landed on a carpet of sink stickies by others, so it all comes crumbling down so quickly. Like, beef after beef from them, and Froyotech, they definitely put the pedal to the metal and made sure that, as long as the first half was and as fast as the round was taken from them, they put another one right back on the board to tie up the game.
That was... Both of these rounds have just been a wild series of events. That one especially, in G6, that's a round you forget about. That's a round you just say, GG, go next.
Yeah, Froyotech keeping up with the pace. They have a soldier up on top of the cafe roof, actually bombing onto Kobe, who's unable to really jump his way out. The Sin will end up giving their life. Yum Yum as well, caught in no man's land, able to finally take down Kobe is Vanny, but will find himself a duel against Caps, and overall it looks like it might be... Oh no, Donovan is a bit far behind. He might be able to kill Logan. Bombing in is able to collect the frag on the demo man, but G6 they got to collect these frags faster if they want to win this fight. They're separated. Logai is surfing into the choke, but unaware of the rest of the teammates that are coming in. As actually, they're going to ultimately trade meds. As it's a 1v2. Vanny, it might be too much for him to really do with it, and yeah, too much health on the board for him to clean up, too much firepower, and G6, bit of a Pyrrhic victory as these respawners come in, and Froyotech, maybe they'll poke and prod and spam as the stack comes in. Yum Yum knows there's some space, not really anyone blocking the chokes, but recognizes that it's a bit too much to chew, and technically a G6 victory.
That fight felt like it went on for a very long time. Either very good movement or a lot of whiff shots there, but regardless, G6 is going to come out the victors in the end. I'll be with a slight Uber ad, but not enough to really matter. As a G6, it was a slow mid, but they did end up winning it. And, the double scouts, bot mode from Caps, they just kind of ran around and just... it was just kind of like the very slow lawnmower, where they just had to, like 10 shots, kill that guy, 10 shots, kill that guy, and they're able to do it, move on to mid, and both teams just gonna relax, build their Uber, think about how they want to push into second. I don't know if Froyo actually wants to use this. It's kind of like 15%.
Probably not. I mean, considering how big Sunshine mid is, unless you like see
Yeah.
them right there. But I'm impressed with both these teams' mids so far. You mean the opening mid, and then Froyotech pulled up the pace a bit harder and actually did a double bomb, and then G6 third mid respond in kind, recognize the double bomb is going to happen, and kind of adjust accordingly to make sure that they can surf back and play really safe, not just like lose a bunch of important classes right off the bat. So kind of curious to see how the fourth mid's gonna go, but we still have this stalemate to really work with. Is G6 in the driver's seat. Soapy tries to do the speed shot, but I think he gets pre-fire shot by the side of Sin, so we'll not be too lucky there. And Donovan going for a counter sack immediately will also not really find
Sin
too
behind.
much, but Sin did get behind, drawing some eyes and continuing to back up as you know, the floodgates have been open. Sin eventually falls, but they're kind of peeking. But Kobe and IT, no one was watching it, and he will die, but not before he gets to the force. So moves made from Froyotech a bit too adventurous, as they're going to have to give up a lot for that as G6 begins to flood their way through. Yum Yum is behind, and Valley might be able to go for a flank and kill Soapy 1v1 on mid, but they've already taken control of the platform. And yeah, Soapy spotted it, slowing down the fight. But the cap time begins from the side of G6. High bomb from
I'm gonna go for bomb.
onto Low Guy popping in the corner, but will not be able to get the forces. Soapy's trying to stop this back cap and will eventually succeed, but they've given up a lot. They gave up Ether, they gave up Bandy, and Yum Yum, he has to do something here. Try to salvage, get the force early, work their way back to last something, but they're already in it. No one's able to really block. Soldier will finally go through, but Uber coming out. Maybe we'll able to kill Logan, but too much cap time, too quickly, and G6 keep the ball rolling, leading 2-1.
Yeah, that was... I think it all really goes to that flank from Sin. I like the theory, but it not only did it not work out, but then Kobe did basically the exact same thing. I think he saw Sin go behind and he was like, oh, I can do that too. But, you know, his actually worked because Froyo didn't expect them to also get counterpunched. So, and that just kind of snowballed into another round win. So, a little bit of a miscue from Froyotech really snowballed there into a round loss and settling into our fourth mid here with G6 up 2-1.
And Froyotech are still keeping up the pace. Immediately double bomb onto the two most important classes from the side of G6. One low, and then actually Slow Guy's alive for now, but as soon as I say that, he does indeed fall. Hubba 18 HP trying to avoid caps, but the hits, yeah, is he going to hit the shot? And he does with his last breath as Kobe. Last one left alive. And Froyotech, they played the same style of mid, but they definitely tweaked it enough to make sure that they can keep at least some people alive and collect the frags needed. Did indeed lose Hubba, so G6 has that silver lining, but Froyotech are starting to cap on 2, which I imagine G6 might poke around with. They know that Hubba won't be there in time to really heal them as for the lockdown, and Soapy, he's in, and they don't even see him. He gets 2 inside each other's models, unspotted, not watching bottom right, and that's going to open the floodgates for potentially a free second push as Sin dies as well on the exit.
Donovan and a Soapy 1v1, but meanwhile, the entire combo of Froyotech's trying to run away with just escape with their life. The Soapy versus Donovan fight's still going on, and Soapy gonna get hurt enough that he has to back off, and the Froyotech combo had to really skedaddle there to get out, and they're gonna give up mid for it, and they don't even have spawns yet. Sin is just now arriving, and if G6 want to do something, they do have an opportunity now, or they can settle in a build. But I have to say, so far, I don't think I've ever seen more people get shot in the back and like not know about it than like this Sunshine match. There's been a lot of just like backstabs.
When there's so much chaos going on, it's really easy to let things slip through the cracks. Just one little play, and that's enough to have things snowball in a momentous way. So, at least with the side of Froyotech, despite all that's happened in the bit in the last couple minutes here, I mean, like, you know, it's slowed down. Maybe they can flip the coin over and, you know, punish G6 for whatever sack they begin to do. But G6, you know, talking about how they want to go about this. Soapy probably going to do a high bomb of some sort through Valley, I imagine, off the middle. Maybe a fake from Kobe, not really sure, but overall, they're actually going to be peeking choke. The bomb's coming from Froyotech, a lot of damage on the Logan, and that's going to give them some room to work with, but they gave up a lot of HP for it. And actually, I think Banny tried to clean up on a potential Logan kill because they did so much damage to him, but wasn't able to hit enough shots, and actually gives up his life for it. So, at least it's not a spamming class, but it's still a lot of presence that Froyotech is going to be lacking as they try to hold on to this platform. A lot of damage is overall going to be a trade, but Soapy, the final rocket! Hubba was really afraid of that direct hitting him despite the surf, so ultimately the force will happen, but Loga, he's playing it safe. I do not want to use here. I don't care if you die here. I'm leaving. And they gave up caps, but they're playing the long con here. They're trying to use the respawners, and Yum Yum making space. Will give this life for it. Bomb comes in from the side of Sin, trying to get some damage on the bomb mode, and will succeed, but they're definitely trying to play off the forward respawners that are coming in from the side of D6. Giving up some room, saying that it's okay, you can take the point, we'd prefer the Uber. Although, I don't know if they expected to lose a scout as Cap is finally coming here, and probably not in time to really block this Cap from going through. So Yum Yum will be able to get forwards here as this Uber is probably going to get popped out from IT, taking the slow, but will finally come out. Donovan taking a lot of damage, other Soldier of Sin behind, trying to find bot mode, and they're found known with this Uber. finally able to get Sin behind Donovan, able to escape, but they're still working their way forward. Froyotech poking around, but I guess they're a bit too weak, don't want to worry about it. Definitely playing it slow, want to make sure that they play off the advantage of their Uber, especially with Sin dead, and just going to cut their losses and play for that route rather than playing it really fast.
Yeah, we're in a classic leapfrog situation where both teams, pop in, get the point, then the other team pops in, gets the point back, and so on and so forth until someone either messes up or some team tries to chat back. And he is behind. It looks like they do know Sid is going to fight it. Sophie is going to try to get to the shutter, and he is bringing 2 players back, so that is definitely a big distraction for
It killed the push.
It actually
rotating,
pretty much is like they're still kind of there, and they do get Sophie, but that actually single-handedly made this push a lot tougher because now they're working on 20% ad, and Sid's so hurt he can't really even go in. Froyotech's still gonna go in though. They want to take this 5v6, although they know that this is gonna be a Uber exchange pretty soon.
They should, yeah. Logai has it ready and raring to go as the bomb comes in from the side of the soldiers to put some extra damage on, but the drop from Logan! What was that, a pipe across the map? I wasn't even looking that direction because I didn't realize he was at threat, but I assume he didn't think so either, as Froyotech, no Uber available for them as they just have to scatter around back to their own 2. Yum looks like he might want to take adventure in Valley, but decides not and just backs up as how the tables have turned. I mean, it started as a good spot. Sophie going behind, buy some extra time. Uber inflate from the low guy that isn't even needed to be used. It was just a free Uber after, I mean, maybe it took a little bit of damage. Wanted to make sure bot mode wasn't dropped, but I don't think Froyotech expected themselves to be sitting on their own last right now.
Yeah, that could have gone so differently if Hubba was able to get that Uber off. And he was so close to Logan, I think he was literally actively right-clicking, and Logan is just the perfect player. They're actually going to get in here, and they're going to pretty much drop everyone. Hubba going to make... Is he going to make it at this one? Yes, the dodge. He's going to be able to get and preserve his life for now. They do have the tanked up Putis, and it looks like they're having kind of trouble dealing with this Putis and all the players rolling out, even with the numbers at bot mode on the point, and G6 actually got the back up there. That's a huge play from Hubba just staying alive there, because if he dies there, he can't get those heals off on that heavy end. Actually, is that Banny? And Banny is in, and he's kind of rolling right now. Here,
but Logan has no fear. He's just holding strong, but the fact that Kobe dies might spell his end. He's trying to escape, not able to sticky jump out, but surfs out the damage. What a great play, getting rid of the
Caps
threat there, and Caps coming in
for
the
he
kill.
Gets 2!
They've gotten both soldiers, but they've given up so much that they pretty much dive bombed that flank, and overall, I mean, that's going to be technically a Froyotech victory in that fight.
Yeah,
that was also huge for G6's G6 kind of like messed up at the end. They're focusing that heavy in the last, and now it's spiraled out of control, and now they're about to lose mid.
They were about to lose mid. They might have spawns to refight it if they want, though. They do have the Uber, but it's going to be a kind of a tall order. Froyotech are set up right now, and G6 looks like they want to go. At least they want to pressure a bit and see if they can get in. They're going to see the players pulse, and it looks like, yeah, they're going to call that one off, decide that they're too set up. And Logan is putting the flank trap again. I don't know if it's been spotted.
I don't think they knew it existed last time. He just blinded and no one was quite there. So, I mean, if they do Valley stuff, it could work out. They did Valley stuff the previous time. I don't remember if it really led to too much success. So I don't know what they're going to be leading towards, but they're just kind of spotting around. Doesn't really seem like... I mean, Donovan's a choke. He'd be the primary sacker.
Yeah, Yum just ran past the trap, so... but it looks like they're not going that there. Yum actually...
Is that just a double air shot onto the shoulder? Is going to take crater damage, 28 HP. Oh, he does the little... He does the
There's
bug.
No way.
He does the bug to lessen fall damage. I don't know if it would have mattered. Maybe he could have lived with
that was actually insane.
HP, but that was definitely huge overall.
That's a high invite medic play there. That's the kind of stuff that like separates the great medics from just the okay medics. An okay medic gets forwards there, but a great medic like Little Guy, he knows all the little tricks there. Definitely got out of that one. A little close, but is managed to get off as we see Froyotech. G6 is down a player from their sack, so Froyo does have a little bit of a window to work with here with a one-player advantage. But looks like Sin isn't going to be able to eat spam, but Froyotech's actually kind of just walking through code.
Yeah, they've found, I think Logan didn't have enough ammo to really lock things down, but now he does be able to take down Yummy with a bomb coming in onto Logai once again. Another rocket, not quite enough damage as they've given up so much and Logai didn't even need to use. There was only a single soldier deep enough to be able to be threat, and he did not hit the mark, and they gave up so much. They got so much room, but maybe it was just a bit of a bait. I mean, it probably wasn't an intentional bait, but it worked out that way as Froyotech losing mid. Back to their own 2, and at least they get forwards. And I think they're running Yum Sniper. He's sitting in the shutter still. But
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how Lol Guy's not popping these Ubers. And speaking of, Sophie is going to be in, and is he going to be able to get this? Hubba, that was close as well. These medics they're committing to these milks, and it's only a matter of time before someone milks a little too hard and ends up in a drop. But
Yum. Oh, he
yeah.
takes his first shot. He's shown his cards.
They're still peeking. Look how aggressive Froyo is.
Yeah, and Kobe, he's actually finding himself dead in Valley. Didn't expect two people to jump there. Yum, he tried to peek a bit for a miracle shot. All the bombs coming in. Actually, Bolster's going in. Just on to Logan, but will not find too much there. Spare a bit of damage. And now G6, they have some room to work with. The sniper's still a threat, still got to get the Ubers out of the way, but these doors are definitely pretty much free. Just have to have Ether Det, which he already has, and they're starting to poke their way through, but they definitely have to play fast. Can't let Yum take shot after shot. He's trying to find an angle. Logai's baiting just a bit as they're trying to bomb Soapy and get onto the platform, but not really going to find too much of Logai. Made his way through. Logan's trying to spam as actually G6 is taking tons of room on the other side of the map, but they're going to eventually get the sniper, but giving up both their scouts for it means there's probably no Uber exchange going to be happening here. Kobe stuck in the bottom of the lobby, will eventually get cleaned up as well. And G6, I mean, they had an ample opportunity, but definitely did not play that fast or concise enough to make sure they were able to convert that. And back 2 seconds we go, just a tug of war between each team second, it appears.
Yeah, it's Froyotech, like, they were kind of half committing. They were, like, kind of into they want to beat someone. And speaking of people hiding, it looks like we do have a Froyo scout here hiding in a corner in Cafe. It looks like he's going to back out just as I mentioned it, so, of course. Actually, he probably could have found Logan there if he waited a little bit longer. But regardless, we actually... It hasn't really been this long. There's only a minute left on the time.
There's only a minute left on the time, so very quickly we're going to be reaching probably, no matter what, a 3 limit. And I just saw lag, so I really hope that's not wrong config lag. Because that would... normally that'd be GG lag, but that just might mean that that's wrong config lag, because I don't want a repeat of last week, so fingers crossed that that's not what that was. But overall, current stalemate, trying to work their way through, trying to find an angle to sack the G6, responding in kind, just poking and prodding, and actually, they find the way out of Yum kind of poked in a bit too far, but nice air shot into Soapy, kind of denying that counter sack immediately as Logan. Oh, they're trying to go on to them. He was a bit too far deep, but they're actually going for Logai instead, who surfs his way back, but no heals because he's that far back, but will not find any kills from the bit of aggressive side of G6 on their players. So a lot of room for G6 to work with. Still got the Uber to worry about. They're all for IT and choke. And
wait, Froyo wants to exchange. They want to mix it up here, but they already take a bunch of damage. They're gonna have to exchange. They're gonna be able to catch anyone out too. So far, they're gonna force the Uber, and bomb mode is behind. That's their best bet. Yum is gonna hit that clean 2-shot, and they get catch. So Danny and Yum making huge plays there. Now Logai's alone. Soapy is here to beat, but can he hit the shot? He cannot. But there's the cleanup from Donovan.
I mean, that was so good for the side of G6, especially because at the very beginning they were avoiding everything, and I mean, they eventually lost bot mode to the tail end of the Uber, but losing another scout and then just kind of spiraling out of control from there, Logai alone. Logan being the the latest death I've seen in a long while is bot mode getting cleaned up as well. I mean, at least Kobe is able to get something on the back line, but they're still terrorizing. They're all the way at last, the cap goes, and that was... Was that before or after the time? I think that was after, right?
I think that was after, but you missed an interaction. There was a...
Was it mid?
Yeah, there was... Kobe was fighting, I think it was Sin, with the escape plan, and Sin ran around for like 30 seconds with the escape plan, and just... It was silly. But regardless, we are in for a tie match. This is basically sudden death. Whoever wins this round wins the map and wins the match. So, you know, high stakes here, and I gotta say, 2-2 going into the halftime. Well, I think you nailed the theme of this match very correctly.
Yeah, immediately on to Logai. Froyotech are still playing pretty aggressive. They are able to get their people they were going for. Is actually, they're working their way all to the other side of the map, and Kobe's able to make sure that Hubata does give up his life, as overall 2v2 is going to be happening. Bot mode a bit weak. On to Banny, trying to escape and wait until Soapy's able to return. As if they play this fast enough, they can delete Ether from the server, but they're both so weak, both half HP, gonna have to go back for health packs and fight a bit later, as they might initiate, depending. Soapy might try to go for something, but no, considering bot mode's going that far back, definitely scout speeding Logai up. Don't want to start the fight just yet, but I guess technically Hubata was a later death, so you could do a really quick fight before Froyotech has heals here. Have to clear up the sticky. Ether definitely locked that down a bit, but the rest of Froyotech are coming in tow through the choke, and bombing onto Kobe.
Kobe's getting
really weak right off the bat, needs an arrow, and will try to jump away to try to fight another day, but the arrow will miss, has to go back for pack. Same with Soapy. Bot mode fighting Donovan in the backline as Sin tries to keep the pressure onto Caps, as maybe, okay, Donovan does indeed die in the backline, so G6 gave up a lot of HP, but technically got a kill, so Froyotech will get this cap probably, but, you know, with the player ad for the side of G6, they want to keep the ball rolling
Sin's
from Valley.
super hurt too. Yeah, I like that play from G6 where they just backed up there because they were hurt, and they actually managed to get the kill from the player went behind. And okay, both teams are going to Uber exchange here. G6 is
15 ads.
G6 is going so deep.
They just full send it with both their soldiers, recognizing that in the mid-fight, RGLgg died so early and then Hubba died after. You don't even need the Solemn Vow to know that if there's probably a tiny ad, right? They just take it. No,
I thought both teams had Uber. I must be crazy.
yeah. No, I mean, no, he had like 85 or 90 or
Okay,
so
okay.
because of how late it took them to finally kill Hubba. RGLgg died really early, Hubba died really late. They recognize it, be like, just go. 15, 20 ad, they won't expect it. Full send, all projectiles, and now they're beginning to? No, they're not dry pushing left. Okay, they're slowing the roll just a tad. They still technically have a good ad to work with. 60% might fluctuate a bit depending on how things build, which caps. Sep definitely is, and Froyotech is not, so it's only going to grow in their direction, if any, but this could be the chance for G6 to clean things up in Froyotech. They have a long road ahead of them if they're going to turn this around and get the round for themselves.
Yeah, this is 50% dissent. Sunshine Last is holdable, but it's gonna be tough. We do have Yum Yum out on the Pudis. We do have Vanny on the Centric, so we have some good close classes. Centric gonna die perfectly. Is both Froyo soldiers. They're actually Logan is just in. He's trying to shoot the Pudis, but there's no distraction. And look at Froyo's health. They're all in the red. It's just Ether. They're all gonna. It's a 3v3, but there's no heals. Ether's 7 HP. It's just on him. Logan runs forward, and that's a 3-2 for the side of G6. That was a pretty good last push overall.
The extreme confidence from the side of G6 definitely sent that to the moon and back, and rewards them handily, taking the victory 3-2 in another nail-biting match, but proving that even though it's going to be a toe-to-toe fight between them and Froyotech as the standard, that they are able to indeed clutch it out and make sure a victory goes their way. As I think with that victory, they've realistically prevented Froyotech from sniping a second seed, but Froyotech is still fine at probably taking third. Just gotta make sure that Mal doesn't get some sort of upset and knock them down to fourth. But I think G6, even though they didn't need this win, like they're first seed no matter what, they're probably pretty happy that I don't know if happy that it went down like this. I'm sure if you're them, you want like a confident victory and stuff, but at least you got a victory nonetheless.
And it was on a Froyotech's map pick. Remember that too. Froyotech was the one who picked Sunshine, so losing your own map pick is a little rough. I guess Froyo had a big comeback against G6, and G6 able to squeak out a victory against Froyotech on this map. So both teams taking each other's map picks in very close fashion means I'm excited for playoffs if this trend continues. We're going to see a lot of close matches, which is always a good spectator. Look at the correct score guessers, I guess, before we look at the logs. And I haven't loaded up the logs quite yet, Jared, but what do you think you're going to see on there?
I don't know. I just wait for the stream. I'm kind of expecting. I'm expecting low DPMs, like nothing super crazy. Maybe like a person or two. Maybe like the soldiers, if anything, just because of how like stalemate it kind of was. And I was totally wrong. It was demo and scout.
There is a sad soldier. I get both soldiers are kind of sad, but there is definitely the Froyo soldiers are way more sad than the G6 soldiers.
Definitely. I mean, it kind of makes sense with the way that it was kind of going, because it seems like when it was kind of slow and it was back and forth, that's when it would kind of even out. Froyotech's victories were extremely quick, but I think G6s were pretty hard fought, so they would get like that soldier kill onto like Donovan or Sin and then kind of work it from there. So it kind of makes sense that it would be difficult for them to really generate
also feel like
really
Froyo just
nice stats on a close loss.
They had a ton of sacks into RGLgg that just they could not get that man. RGLgg was just he was impossible to kill.
Yeah, we do have Caps here. Hello, welcome, congratulate on your victory. Let's get him unmuted, and we've got to drag Soap. Okay, Soapy's in here now. Get the interview process situated. My mumble's lagging, so I can't do it for some reason.
Oh, I will. There's Soapy. There's Caps. Okay.
All right, congrats on your victory, guys.
Hello, thank you.
Was Sunshine a map you kind of expected to end up be playing on overall? I mean, it was going to be their map pick, so I don't really know if you had anticipations on what they were going to favor.
I don't know what the team thought, but I thought they would probably pick it, but I don't know. Yeah, kind of, I suppose.
Once you see that it's going to be Sunshine, I don't think you've played it this season, right? So are you kind of confident with whatever like scrims you've done so far that it should probably go your way, or do you think you had to put a little bit of extra effort in to make sure that everything was as refined as it was going to be for the match?
I think from scrims, Sunshine does seem to be one of their better maps, I think, but it shouldn't have been close. We should roll them harder, but all good.
What do you think was one of the bigger things that prevented you from getting like a more dominant scoreline that you guys wanted?
Just the
behind
game.
guy,
Just the general game plan.
corner
Well,
man.
it's just the general like mindset going into the game. We'll fix it. It should be more dominant if we do.
There's a lot of players getting shot in the back this match from both teams.
Yeah, these guys play like absolute crazy people. So
Mr. Run Behind guy.
yeah, you know they do play very chaotic and it's a little weird to play against if you don't expect it. But when you expect it, it becomes a lot easier. Our game plan was just a little flaccid going into it, but by
What do you think?
playoffs, it should be a lot smoother.
What do you think was the biggest shift, if any, that you guys had to enact, like kind of mid-game, as you kind of saw what their game plan was going to be? Because obviously you come in with the plan A, and you got to adjust it a bit to make sure that whatever plan B you have instead works out. Was there anything that comes to mind as you had immediately had to change this because of what they were trying to do?
Yeah,
Logan,
no,
that's you, bro.
we just generally match their aggression. It's a combination of like matching their aggression, but also slowing down the game, which sounds like an oxymoron, but it makes sense when you're playing, and it's just yeah, it's something you kind of specifically do for Froyo because they just like that's what Benny likes to do. He just hyper aggro, get everyone to hold W. That's the way he wants the team to function. So you have to play a certain way to like counter it. But at first we weren't really doing it very well, but we sort of kind of started fixing it later on. So I predict in the future it'll be smoother, like I said before.
One thing that I think I kind of noticed, not even just in dry fights, but in general, it really felt like that their game plan wasn't necessarily ever to really shoot a lot of the front line, but they were really gunning hard for Logai in a lot of like even non-stalemate scenarios. Logai, is that something that you kind of expect normally when you play this team, or is that a shift from maybe like what you might
Vanny's
experience
out
in
for my
scrims?
throat, bro. I don't know what it is with that guy.
Guy's reaching.
He is fucking on me. I don't know, bro.
They
In
definitely
hindsight, do you
tunnel
think that's
medically hard.
do
At
you
least
think
for us.
oh, so it's just like a play style thing? you would
Well, I
assume?
don't know what they do against other people, but for sure against us, it does seem like it's a medic tunneling kind of thing.
It's actually pretty, like, once you play against it and you see the patterns that they do, it's like easy to adjust mid game. Like, the difference between this match and in Metalworks, like, we started losing, right? We were losing the first round, but like we were able to see what we were doing wrong and fix it mid match. And that's like the difference between a good team and a bad team, you know?
Definitely. Saw that a lot in the mids too. Can you talk a little bit about, if anything, like how the mid fights had to change? Because I know right off the bat it was really slow, and then Froyotech kind of amped it and immediately started doing tons of double bombs, which I'm sure you had to make some sort of adjustment to try to stay on top of things. So, any insight there?
That's just kind of the answer I had before. Like
Same thing.
they have these pre-made mids that they do. They get repetitive, but the idea is just like hyper aggression, attempt to coordinate something at the same time. So a trap that you can fall into is trying to get too defensive, but the idea that we had kind of mid-game was just meeting that aggression and just recognizing where they're going to come from and just positioning accordingly. But yeah.
Kind of going into the end of the season as we kind of near the playoffs weekend is where your map pool really gets put to test as you play multiple maps, of course, and you've had plenty of time to have a lot of practice and stuff. And it's not like you're a new team by any regard, but maybe there's some obviously some newer maps in the pool. You don't have to speak to specifics and like let everyone know like, oh yeah, pick this against us, but like anything. Do you feel comfortable with where your map pool currently is as we near the end of the season, or you still think there's maybe like select one or two that you're going to be putting some focus on?
I think like any team, there's like any team will say like we like this map, we're better at this map. This is one of our weaker maps, and like we're no different. But we feel confident on like pretty much almost every map. Not gonna say which ones we suck on.
Yeah, obviously.
But I think we're confident on like pretty much like almost all the maps. Like certainly I wouldn't be afraid like on any map going into any match.
All right, classic question. Who's the MVP for this match? It was really close.
A guy was doing some crazy shit. Excuse my language.
I'm gonna give it to myself.
That's Chad, honestly.
Because I'm the best player on the planet.
I love the hero.
I'm gonna give the MVP
like
to
too
Logan,
humble.
bro.
Oh,
Yeah, no,
Logan
if
was
you-
lagging
okay.
so
If
bad
you know,
all
if
night.
you know, you know.
Logan was lagging horribly
Logan
the
was
entire
lagging.
night.
Logan was Helen Keller this match.
And he
Can't
was-
hear, can't
and
see,
he was
and
still
he's
getting the
just-
crucial plays.
And
Logan
he
had to
was
solo home
so-
last too, that one side. It was just like Logan and a Sentry versus 5
Yeah,
Frail
that
players.
was yeah. Just go next on that one.
Yeah.
Right,
People don't know
either
why Logan is different on land. He just
'Cause he
plays
has
under
the
these
worst
conditions online.
fucking- yeah.
Just unleashes.
Yeah.
Training weights.
It's okay.
Yep.
We have a boot camp. Just kidding, fucking boot camp, but
Mm,
Alright.
problem should be fixed.
Any
playoffs.
questions from you, Space, that you can think
No,
of?
I'm good.
All right. I guess we go to the shout out phase before we go ahead and end the stream. Any final thoughts or shout outs, starting with Caps?
Absolutely. Shout out to Charm Quark. That's our sponsor. No one knows she sponsors us still, but she's the GOAT. She sponsors us, giving us a lot of money to help for stuff. And she's the GOAT. Shout out to Charm Quark.
Well, guy.
Shout out all my friends, man. Shout out everyone that supports us. Shout out to my teammates, every old teammate. Just fucking, let's get this dub, bro.
Sophie?
Shout out to shout out to our sponsor Charmcork, and also I want to give a shout out to all the XG6 players: Rakuso, Zilly, Skis, Howard, and then shout out to Drifta, Maxi, Krung.
I'm actually gonna give a second shout to Skis, bro.
Shout
I'm
out
looking up
Skis.
to you, bro.
I'm not. I hate skis. Never mind.
Oh.
No,
What about you, Space?
Shout out to Skis. No ski slander on the RGL stream.
And definitely shout out to all the people who are watching and hanging out with us. Obviously, the teams for putting on the performance, Slam House for all of the tunes before the stream. It's going to be pretty much it for tonight. And when it comes to future casts, I think as long as things end up not rescheduled, there should be games all this week. I think you guys have a match tomorrow, right? You play Mal tomorrow?
I think so, yeah.
And then after that, I think it's 20ZC versus Mal as well. So some matches that could shake up the seeding. If Mal want to dig themselves out of probably 4th seed, they would need to win one of those. So
We lost.
it's going to be important for them to decide who they're going to be playing in playoffs. But it's pretty much a full week. But for tonight, that's going to be pretty much it for us. Thank you all for watching. I've been casting with Space Ghost with Dolphin on production. Thank you and good night.
Good night.
Shout out to Tony Snow.